Greetings, my name is JC,
And I'm Ian.
and this is the Gamer's Gaiden. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the releases this month for November 2019. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we've been playing this week. Ian, what have you been playing?
I've actually been playing a lot of the Outer Worlds.
Cool.
Again, Game Pass. If you haven't tried it out, I am
Because it's like $1 now, right?
I think they still have an option to get a month for $1.
Right.
Like,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, if you've got an Xbox One, there's no reason you shouldn't at least give Game Pass a shot.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I've put about 10 hours into the Outer Worlds.
Fair enough.
And yeah, I've actually been really enjoying it. It's kind of weird because now I almost feel like I have to get Game Pass
Oh, okay.
or buy Outer Worlds on the Xbox One
Right.
because I put a lot of time into it.
Oh, because is your subscription going to run out?
Yeah, eventually my subscription's gonna run out, but
Yeah.
I
But like once you're done, if you've managed to finish the game before your subscription runs out, you should be all right.
maybe, but it's really good. It was made by Obsidian,
Mm-hmm.
who did Fallout New Vegas,
Yeah.
which
It's
arguably
probably their biggest claim to fame.
yeah, and is arguably one of the better Fallout games
Yeah.
of the 3D Fallouts. And yeah, like this is like it's all the fun that I had with a Fallout game.
Right.
It's everything that you like about Fallout in a world that doesn't suck.
Okay.
Like that's one of the issues I always had with Fallout games is everything's so like I don't know, depressing and bombed out.
Well, it's post-apocalyptic,
Yeah,
so
and
it
it's
kind of makes sense.
but
That's what its aesthetic is going to be.
exactly, but I find it like it's depressing,
Yeah.
and I find you spend a lot like if I spend a lot of time there, I'm just like, man, this is so sad. This world sucks. But I do not have that with the Outer Worlds. Like
Okay.
you're
Because it's just future in space, right?
it's like a space western.
Right.
It reminds me a lot of Firefly
Oh, okay.
in like the best possible ways.
Fair enough.
Like you get your own ship,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Do you get to design it in any way, or
no, it's
Okay.
you
it's a set like ship and characters?
yeah,
All right.
it's a set ship, but you get to bring on crewmates, like and there are a lot of optional characters. So far I've recruited 3 different people.
Okay.
I think one of them is less optional. I
Right.
think she kind of comes along with you anyways,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what happens. But
Okay.
yeah, like I've been having so much fun with it. The kitchen area really reminds me of the kitchen in the Serenity.
Oh, okay.
Like on the ship, it very much reminds me of that. Even the cargo hold looks similar to. I know that they're all like little nods to
Yeah.
the Serenity. So, yeah, it's cool. If you haven't played the Outer Worlds and you enjoyed New Vegas,
Mm-hmm. Or Firefly.
or Firefly, yeah, give it a shot, man. It's awesome, and the character creation is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
They really streamline leveling early on,
Okay.
so you would level like I think you get 10 points per level. And you put those into like a broad skill.
Okay.
So like you'll have like one overall skill that governs, say, like handguns, long guns, and energy weapons or whatever. And if you put 1 point into that, each of them gets a point.
So it's a bucket instead of actually like a tree.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting way of doing it.
Up until each skill gets up to 50.
All right.
And then from
Kind
that
of branches
point,
it from there.
yeah, from that point on, you've got to more specialize.
Okay.
But there's perks and yeah, it's cool. It's cool, and I really like the character creation. I did hear one gripe from a friend of mine who was playing it
Sure.
that you can't switch to a third person mode.
Oh, okay.
It's always in first person.
Mhm.
And he was a little irritated that, you spend a lot of time making this character.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing with a lot of character builders in some games where they allow you to do it and it's really, really cool, and you only ever see them in cutscenes. Anthem had that problem too, and
Yeah.
a lot of other games have as well. Or even sometimes if the third person mode is too close to the character, where it's like really over their shoulder, for example,
Yeah.
and you can't really move the camera around a lot, then you don't really get the full aesthetic. It's like, well, why did I bother like with all the facial features and like what they're looking like
Well,
and stuff
yeah.
like that?
And like the thing is for me, I as soon as I found a helmet,
Mm-hmm.
I put it on because there are if you take like there are negative perks you can get essentially,
Okay.
which will give you more like points to spend.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you take too many consecutive like blows to the head,
Right.
you might get a concussion.
So what's the story in the game like?
Um, it's
Like it's a
it,
sci-fi western
yeah.
sort of style, but like what is it about?
So you are a like a you're a so I guess in the future what happens is corporations
Mm-hmm.
will give you an option to like, say if you're willing to give 10 years of service um, to whatever their corporate needs are on this planet,
Right.
after your 10 years of service are done, you can kind of like strike out on your own. You can like, build up your own homestead on
Okay.
planet way out on the far reaches of space. So that's kind of the basis. And you are a member of a ship that was apparently like lost.
Oh, okay.
I think 20 years ago.
Like during your service?
Yeah, like you never made it. So you were thrown into cryo sleep, and the ship was like lost.
Okay.
But I think from the way they explain it right at the beginning, the ship was kind of held
Mm-hmm.
because the corporation didn't need those people right then, and it everyone ended up like kind of getting freezer burnt,
Sure.
so they didn't quite know how to like scrub everyone and get them functional again. And yeah, the one scientist that you end up working with,
Right.
he figured out a way and pulled you out of the ship. And
Dethawed you, and
yeah,
now you're kind of living your life.
yeah, he sort of like dumps you.
Are you still doing the job for the corporation since you haven't done it yet,
No,
or they let you go?
you're helping this scientist
Oh, okay, because they freed
to
you.
I guess like maybe overthrow the corporation and like free the 200 or so other people that are trapped floating
Okay, that's kind of
in
interesting.
space.
Cool.
So yeah, it's a neat story. There's a lot of humor too,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of like fun humor.
Right.
So yeah, like there's some really good sight gags right when you start. Like with you and the scientist, there's some good banter. The ship, the AI that runs the ship, is a lot of fun too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good dialogue with her. So yeah, it's for sure worth it.
Awesome.
I haven't really checked how it's reviewing. I'm sure it is reviewing extremely well.
Yeah, I've seen it's been reviewing fairly well, and I have a couple of other friends who've been playing it as well, and they've been enjoying it too. So
It gets 2 thumbs up from this guy.
cool.
So what have you been playing, JC? And how many thumbs up do you give it?
So over the last week, I've been playing an assortment of video games. Kind
An
of just
assortment.
yeah, just a little bit of this game here and that game there. Obviously, been playing a little bit of League to keep up with the quests. Really looking forward to the new changes for season 10. Been keeping track of the release notes of videos and informational pieces that they've been giving out for the new season, and I'm really looking forward to that, especially the dragon changes with the third dragon actually affecting the map and stuff like that. It looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like it will at least change the way that people play a little bit,
Okay.
making Rift Herald a little bit more important since it can respawn more than once,
Nice.
and making the Elder buff a little bit more powerful and giving it an execute. Don't know exactly how that works, but hopefully the what they finally do release is fair. And yeah, it's been keeping up with that. New Lithoid expansion pack came out for Stellaris, and it's basically just the base game with a new race pack.
Okay.
And they have new perks and stuff like that, where they're lithoid rock people, so the lithoids can essentially have specific perks that are unique to them, such as like they shed off like rare minerals and stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. And their mechanic is similar to the AI, where they only need energy and they don't need food. The lithoids don't need food, and what they need is minerals instead. So it kind of makes sense that they designed it like that. It's kind of a small pivot from the AI mechanical beings expansion that they had before, and just waiting for the Federation's expansion pack. It might come out this month. It might come out next month. They haven't released, and they usually just kind of just like
Surprise.
yeah, surprise us with those types of things. So I've been playing a little bit of Stellaris. Also, over the weekend, I was kind of in the mood for a tycoon style game. So I reinstalled and played Game Dev Tycoon for a little bit.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been a while since I played that game. I think the last time I played it was a few years ago. And because it's quite old now, I think the game came out in like 2012 or something. And
Oh.
I go back to it every few years just because it's really, really fun. You make your own game empire, and you can choose to make games on they're like puns for like the TES instead of the NES, and the Vega instead of the Sega, and the G64 instead of the Commodore 64 and stuff, and Vonnie instead of Sony and whatnot. And you can make your own gaming empire and video games, and you select your genres and different matches, and you make a game engine and add to it and develop your skill set, hire new employees, become a bigger company, and just try and be a successful game company. And if you fail, EA buys you. And
Really?
yeah, it's not actual EA, but it's like I forget exactly what it's called, but it's synonym, like it's
That's pretty funny.
yeah, it's a synonym of EA, and that happened to me twice, and I'm on my third try. But yeah, I made some pretty funny mistakes where I was just like, I'm gonna like invest in this style of game on the wrong type of console and see what happens. But yeah, so I've been playing that over the weekend, and I recently repicked up Harvest Moon: Hero of Leaf Valley for the PSP. So I've been kind of playing that on and off a little bit. Kind of, I want to play through the game again, so I'm gonna just I'm starting the game like the first bits of it, just to try and remember all the perks of this version of it, and then I'm gonna actually probably start it up in a week or something like that and play through the
Okay.
game. So I picked that up a little bit. So yeah, it's been a really long time since I played that game, so I don't really remember very much of it. And I've been playing that game a little bit as well. But yeah, that's what we've been playing. So let's go over. We've decided to break up this episode into two different sections, really. We're going to have the top 3 games that are coming out in November
Yeah,
that
because
we're
there's a
excited
couple
for.
really big releases
Yeah.
this month, so we kind of have to touch on those.
Yeah, and then after we do that, we're going to be doing other games in chronological order that are going to be released. But let's start off with our top 3 games that are being released in November. The first game, do you want to go into this one, Ian, since you're the person getting it?
Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped for this.
Yeah, so this is coming out on November 15th. So by the time this video releases, it'll be about a week and a half.
Yeah.
And it's coming out on the PS4, the Xbox, and the PC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the story look like I'm interested by the story
Mm-hmm.
because of where it falls chronologically. I'm really interested about the gameplay though.
Yeah.
That's what really grabs me.
Yeah, I think the gameplay is what's kind of going to make or break this game.
Oh, for sure.
I'm personally kind of on the fence about this game, and I'm going to wait probably until it's a little bit cheaper or until more reviews get in. I mean, not the initial reviews, because I honestly think that the initial reviews will probably be bombarded with a whole bunch of like thrown away reviews where they're just like, "Oh, this game is great" or "This game sucks," just kind of like trolling. And
Yeah,
it'll
it's really with the
Yeah.
AAA titles now. It's really tough to tell whether something actually ends up good because
Yeah,
you get review bombs
especially-
on both ends of the spectrum.
especially with certain companies like EA, for example. So
Yeah.
it's hard to tell.
But I think what kind of gives me a little bit of hope is Respawn has a really good track record.
Mm-hmm.
The Titanfall games,
Yeah, this is
We're-
what gives me hope as well.
they were fantastic. Like the first Titanfall, even though it was multiplayer only,
Yeah.
The gameplay was so much fun. Like the whole gameplay loop with it was a blast. And
Right.
when they made Titanfall 2, like, yeah, I know the game was a flop.
Hmm.
It didn't do well, but that was a release issue. They should never have put it out at the same time as I think it came out at the same time as like a Call of Duty and Battlefield. Well, yeah, you're releasing a semi-niche shooter amongst two of the biggest shooters. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
But I loved the single player
Hmm.
in Titanfall 2. The single player campaign was a lot of fun, and it incorporated like great mechanics and everything. Like I talked about this in an episode earlier this year because I finished it.
Yep.
I don't even know which one. Just go back and watch all of them again. um, yeah. So the fact that they have a really good track record of making quality products, that gives me so much hope that this is going to be decent. And I like the idea that they're saying it's kind of that like Metroidvania kind of gameplay where you'll get new abilities and you'll be able to go back to old areas and find new spots. That's really cool. And the first time I saw Cal do the like wall run, that is like that's like one of the signature things from Titanfall.
Right.
I was like, all right. I
Do you
feel
think it's going to be like a Titanfall reskin though?
I don't,
Like
because
this was Titanfall 3 and they just decided to make it Star Wars because sales?
this plays in third person.
Sure, but I mean, it doesn't take that much.
I mean, I guess not, but
It's a
I don't
camera
know.
change.
I'm I'm really hopeful. I
That's cool.
I really liked like Jedi Knight.
Hmm.
The Jedi Knight games were great.
Oh,
Uh,
like old Jedi Knight.
yeah, like
Jedi Knight 2 for the PC, the first person shooter game?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
then there was the I think Jedi Knight no, Jedi Knight 2
Hmm.
came out on console as well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of really good like Star Wars games made a few like I don't know, a generation ago. Man, I feel old now.
Whenever LucasArts was good
Yeah.
and still around.
But I don't know. This gives me hope. This gives
Hmm.
me hope. I think especially knowing how poorly Battlefront 2 did.
Hmm.
Only I guess 2 years ago.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
few years ago.
But it did real bad, and it got a lot of negative like
It was for
public
different reasons,
image.
though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But the gameplay was fine. The story was a lot of fun. Like when I got it for $5, I had way more than $5 worth of fun with it. It was a
Yeah.
full Anthem out of 10 for me. Uh,
Fair enough.
but yeah, no, it gives. I can go on about this all day, but yeah, I'm super pumped, and I can't wait to tell you guys what I think about it.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to how the game is, so I'm looking forward to your review on that. But let's go into the next game.
Because you're pretty pumped for this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I am too, but I don't think to your level.
So Pokemon Sword and Shield are coming out on the 15th as well for
Which
the
you getting?
Nintendo Switch. I'm getting Shield,
Boo.
and my friend is getting Sword.
I am getting Sword.
Okay. So the yeah, I think these games are going to be pretty good. I will admit, for me, Pokemon tends to go back and forth between having a good game and having a really great game. And I just hope this is one of the better Pokemon games out there. Because a lot of the time, like, they don't really add in a lot of features and it's a lot of the same.
It goes from being good to great, and then back
Exactly.
to good again, and then to great again.
That's my opinion on it. Yeah. But I think with what with little information they've released, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'm interested to see how they handle the series going forward with it being the hybrid console now,
Yeah.
since it seems to be very evident that there's not going to be like a 3DS like successor. Basically, it'll
Yeah.
just be the Switch, unless things completely change for Nintendo. And and this will basically be the precursor as to how this series is moving forward. And it'll be good times regardless.
I mean, if I'm being honest, my hope is that the Let's Go series was kind of the precursor to where it is going.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
that's
this actually has
kinda
real
was-
Pokemon elements in it, whereas
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Let's
say.
Go was
I
basically
think it's gonna be the Let's
Pokemon
Go
Go.
graphics, especially based off the screenshots that they have released
Yeah.
on the limited game footage, and it'll basically be that with just the normal battle mechanics. And it'll obviously have like its new version of Pokemon, like evolved forms and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. To say the least.
Yeah,
But
I'm pretty
and
hopeful.
I'm pretty hopeful and as well, and
And
it
pretty
should be pretty
excited
fun.
too, right? Like
Yeah,
it will be a lot of fun.
yeah,
Or it should be a lot of fun.
I'm on board with this one. It looks really cool, and yeah. So if you're getting Pokemon as well, I'll probably do a review of it as well, like you will do with Fallen Order. So
And maybe if you're really interested, I'll battle JC.
yeah,
I'll
we'll
probably beat him.
maybe
I did play a lot of competitive Pokemon.
cool.
A
We'll
lot.
have to see. But there's one other game in our top 3 that are coming out that you're going to be getting. I have not pre-ordered this, but
This is actually, and this will be out by the time you guys watch this.
mhm,
And we're already getting reviews of Death Stranding.
mhm.
Um,
But
they're early reviews.
they're early reviews, the journalist reviews.
Yeah, and they've been kind of mixed. But I'll be totally honest with you. A lot of the complaints that I keep hearing about it, I'm still intrigued.
I don't understand the complaints that they're getting. It's like they're whining over nothing.
That's true. No, I'm really interested. I know, yeah, like in my opinion, Hideo Kojima is a visionary. He's made a lot of fantastic work.
hmm
Um,
And like
he's done some real art within the medium. Like
yeah,
I'm a giant fan. Like yeah, I'll admit I'm a fanboy, but yeah.
and that's just the thing. Like I'm certainly not a fanboy. I haven't played as many Kojima games as like you've played or like my other friend John has played. But like from what I've seen and what I know of Kojima, it looks like fans of Kojima are going to be really satisfied,
I
and
think
there's a lot of
so.
them, and like it looks like a movie that I'd want to watch. I personally don't know if I would want to pay, not being a fan, as much of a fan, I should say. I don't know if I would really want to pay $60 or $80 for this experience, but it looks like something I'll probably pick up like later down the road, or borrow and play through. And I think it'll be a really great experience. And yeah, like what a lot of the game journalists are saying with the early reviews, like I think they're whining just so that they can. Like it looks like a really great game.
Oh,
It
like
it just
it looks beautiful, and that
hmm
in my opinion, that's something that Kojima's been amazing at doing.
yeah, he's a
Is
good storyteller
he's a good
and
storyteller, but
he's really influenced by media.
he
So
really pushes. He has a track record of pushing a console
mhm.
right near the end.
Yeah, yeah, you mentioned this in like I think the last episode of the episode before it, where there's always a Kojima game right at the end of the console's life cycle, which this is now the end of the life
Yeah, this is
cycle.
the end of the
This
life
is like the
cycle, and I
last
think this
year.
is probably. I think we will see this be one of the most beautiful titles
Yeah,
that we've
this
seen
and The
on a
Last of Us
console.
2 will be like the two swan songs of the console, basically.
Yeah, and I think people like your early reviews right now are just like you said, they're complaining for the sake of complaining.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I am hopeful because I haven't put my hands on this yet. I
Yeah.
haven't. But the fact that it is a single player experience,
Yep.
it does have a bit of a asymmetrical multiplayer element.
Okay.
Asymmetrical? Does that sound right?
I don't know.
Um,
Just say it has a.
asynchronous multiplayer, where you don't actually interact with each other, but you can see their impact on the world.
Oh, kind of like Dark Souls?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I like that that's an element, but mainly this is a single player experience.
Yeah.
You're playing this by yourself, and this is
Well,
like,
most of all of Kojima's games are, right?
yeah, but like, this is still like a 20 or 30 hour game. This is a long game.
Okay. I was expecting it to be like 10 or 20 hours, to be honest with you.
This is a good sized game for for a single player experience, in my opinion. Unless you're picking up an RPG.
Well, the Metal Gear game, the last one, 5, it was like 30 or 40 hours.
Yeah, and that's it was a big open world.
Mhm.
Well, big open maps, but
It's
yeah,
still an open world style.
exactly. No, I'm really excited.
Cool.
If you can't tell, I am really excited about this.
Yeah.
So,
Are you gonna get the console?
no,
The Pro to get the
No.
special controller? No.
I mean it. I really like the controller.
Yeah.
I like that it's transparent,
Mhm.
yellow.
Mhm.
It looks kind of gross,
Yeah.
but no, I'm not gonna spend $500 for a controller.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Alright.
I'm not that deep in YouTube money.
Nope. Pro. Not yet.
Not yet.
Like and subscribe. So let's go in.
Patreon.com/no.
Let's go into other games that we find interesting that are coming out this month. And yeah, so I figured I would start off by, we're going to do this chronologically. And the only reason why I'm mentioning this game, the game is Just Dance 2020, is because I find it really, really interesting that there's a Wii version coming out.
I mean, you know what?
Like,
It doesn't surprise me because people still own a Wii.
yeah. And I guess that maybe some of the older people who bought the Wii still have it around,
Yeah.
and this would potentially be like a mobility game that they play,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, it's coming out for the PS4, the Xbox, the Switch, and the Wii. And yeah, I find that really, really funny.
Also, you know what? Take that, Wii U.
Yeah. Yeah, there isn't even a Wii U copy coming out for this, I don't think. But still,
I can tell you this is not going to be available on the WiiWare
no,
because that doesn't exist anymore.
does not exist
I found
anymore.
that out
Yeah.
in my last episode. Go watch it.
Yeah, so the next game, also coming out November 5th, is a game that I'm actually kind of looking forward to. Mario and Sonic and the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. This is coming out for the Switch, and yeah, I mentioned in a previous episode, I actually kind of like Olympic Games, and it's like one of the conventional sports that I actually enjoy watching.
Yep.
And
you also mentioned in another episode that you really like Sonic.
Yep.
So,
and this is both of those. And I played some of the older Olympic games that they have released, and they're fairly fun. They have a whole bunch of like Olympic games that you can play. There's a summer one and the winter one, and they're pretty entertaining. Not anything I get too deep into, but yeah, I think this game is pretty fun. I think the coolest thing about this is there's both 3D and 2D sprite based
cool.
games where you're actually you're actually playing as the 2D sprite versions.
In a 3D environment?
I think so, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so like there's the running one that I saw in the trailer where like everybody is running on the track and it's 2D, for example. It looks kind of cool. So there should be like some fun little gimmicks like that in the game too to make it a little bit interesting. So yeah, looking forward to that game.
I might try that out at your house.
Yep.
I probably won't pick that up.
Fair enough.
Also,
another Switch game coming out.
Another Switch game.
Mhm.
Layton's Mystery Journey.
Yeah.
This is actually a port of the 3DS game that was released 2 years ago, 2017.
Yeah, we were talking about this game a little bit whenever we were going over the list of games coming out to put on the list, and we were actually quite surprised that it was a remake of the 3DS game because we thought, oh wow, a new game, but it looks like there's new features, but it's like it's a little upscale and stuff like that. But
yeah, because digging into it a little bit more,
Mhm.
the 3DS version came out at the same time as a mobile version.
right,
They both reviewed okay,
Mhm.
but a lot of people were kind of irritated because the mobile version was like $20, and who spends $20 on a mobile game? But then
not very often.
But then the console version was like $50.
Right.
I was like, well, why would I spend $50 on this console version when I could get it on mobile for 20? It was a lot of arguing about the weirdest things.
Yeah.
But
if they're the exact same thing, it makes sense that people would be upset about that.
Right. I know the console one had some added features that the mobile didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So I am intrigued. I liked that I didn't pick this game up on the 3DS because I'm I'm a few years behind on my Layton games,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like that they switched gears
Right.
because they were kind of like this doesn't have Professor Layton in it. It stars his daughter.
Right.
Um, yeah, and I like that they were just like, well, where else can we go with Professor Layton after he saves the world? Like, save it again?
I mean, that's what Final Fantasy does.
I mean, yeah, but it's constantly different people
Yeah,
and different worlds.
That's true.
Allegedly. But yeah, I like that they're just like, well, all right, well, his daughter.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, hopefully it'll be a pretty good port.
Yeah, I mean, it should kind of stand up because the mobile version worked with a touch screen,
Right.
and didn't require a stylus. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it's gonna have a lot of touchscreen elements.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious. I might give it a week after it comes out, but
Fair enough.
it's for sure on my list. It's something I'm keeping track of.
Yeah. Something to get. Next
Uh,
game?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's the same day too.
Mm-hmm. November 8th.
New Super Lucky's Tale.
Yeah. This is the Switch version because
Yeah,
it is already
it's another
out.
port.
Yeah. it is already out on the Xbox One.
And I think PC as well.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, it's probably like games with Windows. Actually, this is on Game Pass. Game Pass. I'm not sponsored, but no, this does have a little bit of added content in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like because I actually played this at Fan Expo. I don't know if you.
Yeah, we did. We both did.
Yeah, yeah. It to me it feels perfect.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the Collectathon 3D adventure games from the 64 era.
Yeah, like it's a mascot platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's super adorable. He's got semi, I guess, relatable to what he is powers.
Mhm.
He's a fox.
Yep.
And he digs. That makes sense. Like, yeah, it's interesting. The levels seem kind of, I don't know, I want to say bite-sized. Like, they're not huge. It might take you like 10 minutes to finish a level.
Yeah, the levels seem to be the same size as like something from Croc or from Mario 64. So, yeah. Or even the Hat in Time episode, like levels are about the same size as well. So,
But I think I think that's kind of perfect, and it really lends to the, like, I guess, handheld experience.
Yeah.
I know some people do prefer to play Switch in docked mode. Those people are wrong. Yes, they are.
play Switch however you want.
That's true. Yeah, just play video games.
Yeah.
Don't care how you do it. Legally. Yeah. No. I feel like that's gonna be a great way to play this, though. Is like, oh, I just woke up. I'm gonna play a couple levels of New Super Lucky's Tale. You have to go through way less work.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could just like finish a level and just like
Yeah, it's a game. It's a
flick
game
into
that
sleep mode.
you'll be able to like play and put down and play and put down,
yeah, like it.
or just play through it. So.
Yeah, I like the idea of being able to like drop in and drop out
Mm-hmm.
instead of like having to like boot up a console. And
Yeah.
I know that's a weird complaint, but anyways,
It's a fairly common Ian complaint.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's why I play the Switch a lot. Moving on to the next week, though.
Yeah, on November 11th, Romancing Saga 3 is coming out on the PC, PS4, the Xbox, Switch, and the PS Vita.
Whoa.
And yeah, so
Wow.
the this is basically an HD remaster of the classic Super Nintendo game. And I actually haven't spent a large amount of time playing like fan translations of this through an emulator before. And to the extent of like actually like playing through half the game or all the game. So I'm actually kind of interested in this because I did really like the Legend games, which are actually Saga games, and I did really like the PS1 and PS2 era Saga games. I know a lot of people didn't necessarily like the PS2 Saga games, but I still found them enjoyable for their variance and difference between the style of RPG to the conventional, like extremely party driven rather than character, like multiple character driven and stuff like that.
Okay.
Because I think with this one you can select one of 8 characters to start off with, and then you get characters as you go throughout the story. And yeah, it's classic JRPG tropes beyond that, and should
Save
be
the
pretty
world.
good. Yeah, pretty much. I would expect. So
So you're gonna pick this up on the Vita?
I don't even have a PS Vita, so yeah,
Whoa.
no. No, the only game I wanted for the Vita was Uncharted, and there wasn't enough games to sell the console for me, so I ended up just getting PS4 instead. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
You can borrow mine.
cool. Yeah, if you have Uncharted, I should probably do that. So next game, Ian, you wanted to
I'm
get?
actually excited for this one. This is November 13th,
Mm-hmm.
which is convenient, and also an HD like remake remaster.
Yep.
13,
Yeah.
the game that nobody remembers. I always feel like I'm the only person that remembers this game. Obviously, I'm not because
Yeah.
they redid it. But every time I bring this game up to people, they're like, "What?"
Yeah. I think I rented this game, but I don't remember it very well. But yeah.
No, it was a kind of an interesting game. Um, yeah, it's based on like an old comic book from I think the like 70s or 80s called 13. And yeah, like it's like sort of like political intrigue, but it is a first person shooter. And the big selling feature for this was that it was cell shaded. And they kind of tell the story in like a comic book
Yeah, it was the
manner.
one thing that like I remember the most about this game is that it was cell shaded, and it was kind of in the time where like cell shaded was this emerging style.
Yeah,
Whenever this came out for the PS2,
it was for
and
sure the new hotness when
yeah,
that's
but I
when we
remember
got
this was
Automata
kind of like
Lista.
one of the games, this and Oni, and also Wind Waker, obviously, were the kind of like the what was the game with the fox?
Okami.
Okami, thank you. Those are kind of like the games that were sort of a cell shaded style
Well, that was the thing. A lot of the cell
that
shaded
were
stuff that you
successful
saw,
and done
because there was
well.
also Beautiful Joe.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like action platformers,
Hmm.
but you got people. Um,
I guess Jet Set Radio or is cell shaded as well.
yep.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, still kind of platformy.
Hmm.
It very much a lot of the cell shaded stuff was in the same vein. But
Yeah.
then you had people break off and do something weird like this,
Yeah.
like a first person shooter, and you had Automata Lista, which was a racing game. Like
Right.
you had some variation on it.
Hmm.
And yeah, like this had a multiplayer mode that did have some like other modes within it
Hmm.
that I was really interested to try out, and I really wanted to play them, but I picked this up on the PS2 so I could play it with one other person because I didn't have a multi-tap.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, not
yeah,
very many people had multi taps.
it's not a good option. So I'm really excited for this. I'm excited to see, like, I'm excited to get in and play it again.
Hmm.
A prettied up version of it.
Yeah.
And
That's, I think, the great thing about remaking a cell shaded game is um, because of the art style, upgrading it, like you can redraw the graphics, and in some ways, or just in because like they're depending on what the source material is,
yeah,
rescan them and then like get a higher resolution. The game will look
yeah,
so much better. So it depends on how they made it, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm super pumped, and I'm super pumped to play some of the multiplayer too, and
cool.
actually play it with people.
Hmm. Yeah, because this will probably have the online features as well. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, the next game that is coming out is Age of Empires 2, the Definitive Edition, which is coming out on the PC. And this is coming out on November 14th. Um, I was more of a fan of the original Age of Empires.
See, I was more of a fan of Age of Empires too.
Yeah, I did really like the campaigns in this game though.
Yeah.
Because I owned Age of Empires 1 and my friend bought the second one, so I would play it on his computer. And then I played through a bunch of the campaigns, and I really enjoyed them. So it'd be kind of cool to pick this up to play through some of the campaigns because like I literally haven't played this since like the few years around whenever this game came out. I've
Oh
never really
wow.
gone back to this game. So it'll be really neat to re-experience this game because it'll be as if I'm playing the game for the first time almost because it's just very very loose memories of what this game was to me because I was playing like other RTSs.
See, this was like a multiplayer staple in
Yeah,
my late teens.
Yeah,
Like this was
mine was more Warcraft 2 and Age 1, and then kind of jumped into
we
those
had
two.
this, and we had I think it was Earth. I can't
Empire
remember.
Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, I played that game too.
It was those two
Yeah.
because we liked playing things that we could play for 14 hours for some reason.
Yeah. But what I think is really cool about this is that they're remaking the Age of Empires games. And if this is successful, I hope that they re-release Age of Mythology next. Because I
Ooh.
really like that one.
Yeah.
So like if I were to choose one of the Age of Empires that I would want, would be the Age of Empires that I
I
want
always
would be
forget about that one.
Age of Mythology was really, really fun because it took the realism of Age of Empires and added a bunch of fantasy elements and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I felt they did that really successfully. So I'm looking forward to potentially that being re-released in definitive high def.
I also
So
really liked Age of Star Wars too. That was a pretty good one.
the Empire at War.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Age of Star Wars.
But there's a interesting quirky game that's coming out on the same day, November 14th. That
So JC's picking up one game on the 14th, and I'm picking up something completely different on the 14th.
fair.
Bee Simulator. So we're going through all the new releases, and I see JC like just like, all right, like I'm gonna delete this one off because we won't talk about this. We're not really interested in that. I'm like, hold up, Bee what? Bee Simulator. So in my brain, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be like Goat Simulator, but bees. It is not. I am super
Actually, I didn't think
interested.
of that.
I am super interested. It's like I actually read some like early gameplay
Mm-hmm.
from some guys at E3 because this was at E3. And yeah, it is not. A lot of people had the same thought that I did. Oh, this
It was
is
like a
gonna
joke
be
game, like
yeah, like Goat Simulator.
Yeah,
But no, it's semi-educational,
that's kind of neat.
and the the like combat I hear is pretty ridiculous.
Cool.
The comparison that I had read compared it a little bit to like For Honor
Oh, okay.
because you have like various dodges and stuff, and
Weird.
and
I
then
can't
a butt,
visualize
and then a
this.
butt sword.
I've seen the footage as well because you sent it to me, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I'll have to actually play this game to see. Like,
And
so
they made, I think the map is like a mile and a half,
okay.
which I know a mile and a half doesn't sound like a lot when you play something like Red Dead Redemption 2 or even Red Dead
No, but
Redemption.
you're a bee.
Yeah, you're a bee. You're tiny. That is a lot of space.
That seems like wasted space to me.
And they've kind of like modeled it after like familiar parks. Like I think they took a lot from Central Park
Oh, okay.
in New York and then some like other well-known parks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you actually collect like pollinate plants,
Okay.
feed the hive.
I mean, I used to
I-
play games like Sim Ant and Sim Earth and stuff like that, so I can't really make fun of this. So
It's as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, Goat Simulator. Oh no, Mr. Mosquito. If you remember that for the PS2,
no, I don't.
Mr. Mosquito. So yeah, it looks really polished.
Mm-hmm. It
And-
does. It to its credit, it looks very polished.
So I'm actually pretty excited to try this out.
Cool.
But there's a really big release coming. That I mean, it's not. I don't think it's as big as the three that we talked about at the beginning, but
It depends on who you are. Like if you're a fan of the series, it's probably the biggest game that you're looking forward to this year. To be honest with you,
it could arguably be the biggest disappointment you have this year.
it might, and that's what I'm worried about. And if you haven't guessed, the game we're talking about is Shenmue 3. It's coming out on the PC and the PS4 with all its exclusivity, but it's coming out on November 19th. And yeah, I haven't pre-ordered this game. I actually only really played the first one, and I never played the second one. I do have it for the Xbox though. It's one of
See, that was the thing. I think I have the first one for the Dreamcast,
yeah, it's for the Dreamcast.
and I know I played the second one on the Xbox
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't a whole lot of Xbox games that were out when I first bought my Xbox. So
Right.
I picked this up because I was like, oh, cool. It's like an open world.
Yeah.
I never saw the draw to it though. After I probably put 5 or 6 hours into it, and I just never saw the appeal.
Yeah, you probably need to play it for about 5 more hours.
That
To be honest with you, it has a pretty interesting start, and then it's pretty normal paced, and then it picks up. So at least the first one I can talk to. But yeah, because you kind of do mundane everyday things and stuff like that and whatnot. Like,
I remember a forklift mini game.
yep, yep. There's a bunch of little tiny mini games, but it's a
Ooh,
great,
and catching
well known.
cherry blossoms with chopsticks.
Yeah. There it's a well known series. Hopefully this will finish the trilogy because the second one did end on a cliffhanger. So people have been wondering what the heck has been going on, and this is years later.
Since the original Xbox.
Yep.
I would have just given up.
A lot of people did.
Fan fiction.
Some people didn't. Some people did resort to fan fiction. So yeah.
Never resort to fan fiction.
But yeah. So Mitch, if you're watching, let me know how it is because I know you backed the game and you're really looking forward to it. So yeah. Anyway,
Mitch, I don't know you, but let me know if it's good. Or let JC know, and he'll let me know.
And so the next game on our list is Children of Morta for the Switch. It's coming out on November 20th.
Actually, it is coming out on the PS4 as well.
Isn't it already out on the PS4?
No, it's already out on the PC.
Okay, I thought it was out on the. Okay.
Yeah, the console releases are on the 20th. 20th.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was already released on the PC. It's been reviewing really well on the PC. I know we were talking about reviews, but
yeah, but this game's already out. It's just a release that's being released.
Yeah,
for the console.
It's coming out on console, which.
And we played this at Fan Expo, or you did.
Yeah, I played this in Sony's booth at Fan Expo.
It looked interesting.
Yeah, it's like a roguelike, but you play as this family. So you pick one of the family members, and then you'll go and like explore in the dungeon, or like there are I guess I shouldn't say in the dungeon. There are various different places to explore. We happen to be, I think, playing in the mountain, but you're guardians of this mountain, and you have there's like a grandma and an uncle who manage like upgrading abilities and that kind of stuff. Yeah, no, it's just the gameplay. Like, it was an action RPG.
Mm-hmm.
It was a like an 8-bit Diablo, kind of how it played for me, at least. I don't know what you kind of thought because you were there.
It looked like a lot of the like retro, like pixel retro games that have been re-released, or like over the last like 10 years. It looked like it had a lot of the similar to style of gameplay.
And then I think the coolest thing was I found this like, I guess, puzzle section, and I was basically playing Pong. I plugged a couple things in, and then it made me play Pong to like complete a loop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's kind of neat. I'm really curious to see if there's other things like that.
Yeah, like other small mini games and whatnot.
But I've heard really good things about the story.
Mm-hmm.
And
from what I gathered, like, if you like this style of game, and you'll know the style if you just look at screenshots of the game.
It's true, yeah.
You'll enjoy this game. And
to me, it looks charming as heck. This is right on my alley.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will for sure be grabbing this on the 20th because, in my opinion, the Switch is probably the best place to play it. Again, for that accessibility of just being able to play for 10
minutes. And it's your favorite console of all time.
It's like top 3 for sure.
Yeah. Next game, Civilization 6, the PS4 and Xbox version.
I like to call this Civilization cash grab.
Yeah. It's already out on the Switch, and it's out on the PC, and now it's coming out for like the major consoles, I guess. But yeah, if you don't have a PC that can run it, and you're like a PS4 owner and you want to play Civ, it's a great series. It's now available for you, but that's coming out on the 22nd.
Yeah, and then you can spend another $50 for the expansions.
Yeah, you gotta buy them separately, which is really weird.
Boo.
Yeah, not a like gold edition that's all in one pack, which is kind of like really the only questionable thing I have about it. But
it really irks me. I've complained about this twice on the show now.
you have.
That irks me so much.
Yeah. But, you know, it's about the same price as what it would be on Steam.
I
which
mean,
is
yeah, I know.
So-
I understand what you're saying, and it is Civ 6.
Mhm.
It's
which is
if
a
you-
great game.
If you don't have have a way to play it,
This is another option for
this
you.
is at least an option. I would have preferred a ground up like console Civ again, like another like Civ Revolution 2.
We're kind of in the age where that doesn't really matter anymore, though. Because, like, the
Yeah,
way that the game engines work, it's kind of expected that they wouldn't do something like that now, because the way that the game engines work now is, like, if you use Unreal Engine or Unity, for example, you just compile to the way what it's going to be playing on.
Yeah, but
You can program to, like, the console, for example, but it's kind of just an OS that runs the game for you. So it's not like
but
hardware
it's-
programming back in the Nintendo era.
But I find RTSs on console tend to not work as well
But a lot of the
because
time,
you just don't have the control.
sure, but like a lot of the games in the RTS field are like the Call of Duties, for example, they're designed for the console and then they're just ported over the PC. So they like it's kind of the inverse. But if you take like
Yeah, but like using
Or-
a mouse and keyboard in like a first person shooter is one thing. Using a controller in a real time strategy game to try to manage your various units, build certain things, manage policy and diplomacy.
but it's a turn-based game, so it doesn't really matter.
I know you've got the time to do it, but now I'm spending like twice as much time because I have like 10 buttons mapped where I could have had
I see what you're saying.
a full keyboard.
Yeah.
You know, to me, and like no matter what anyone says, if you're moving a cursor with the joystick as opposed to like with a mouse, it's always going to be not as accurate.
Okay.
That's my. I mean, it's my.
There's the ball hand mouse that is used for accuracy, but it's okay. Everybody has their own opinion on it. I don't know if it's better or not. So
I mean, do you do you have one of those controllers for your like PS4?
no, I'm talking about like a
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, with the like.
this thing. There's a ball here, and you move the ball. That's actually not the mouse that I'm thinking of. It might be, I don't know. But you move this piece, and it moves the cursor around for you. And people find this a lot more accurate than, like, stuff like this is an old one, for example. It's just a different type of mouse.
Fair enough.
Some people use them for, like, here's a better example of it. This is the newest Logitech one. So this is a ball that spins around and you use that, and people find this more accurate whenever they're doing stuff like video editing and picture editing and stuff like that. Because you can actually, yeah, it's personal preference. That's why my friend uses this for video games.
Interesting.
Yeah, like the guy who I play WoW, my friend who plays WoW, he's used this type of mouse for years,
Wow.
and he cannot use a normal mouse. So it's like I said, it's just personal preference. It's
I mean,
like
again, it's like if somebody uses one of those like ergonomic keyboards.
Yeah.
You could never switch back to a
no.
because your hands would just be broken.
Yeah, or like the fighting game community arguing about arcade stick or controller pad.
Yeah.
Like Mena RD won with a control pad. Like that kind of proves that it's just what you're used to and how good you actually are. Let's just finish.
But regardless of what you like to control with, whether it's the like controller or a mouse,
Mm-hmm.
I always found that the mouse was way more
Intuitive,
easier
sort of.
to use
Yeah.
with that kind of thing. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's just my personal preference. And then I found having something like Civilization Revolution, which is built up for console.
Yeah.
It just same with the Command and Conquer Red Alerts. 3.
Well, you could play Red Alert on the PlayStation, so I understand what you mean.
All right.
But
Anyways,
let's continue on. we wanted to end on with talking a little bit about the Google Stadia, which is coming out on November 19th, and just a little bit of our opinion on whether or not we think this is going to be successful. Ian, do you want to go first?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of already succeeded in setting up a decent install base because they did sell out of their, I think, founders editions, which is just a controller and um, yeah, I
Yeah, but
think.
how many copies did they sell? Selling out and only actually providing 5,000 of them is totally.
Well, that's true. I don't know what the exact number is, but
Yeah.
they've at least got a bunch of controllers out there that have their branding on it.
They have an okay install base.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think what's the weirdest about this is that you don't own anything.
Yeah.
You own nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You own that controller. And then you're going to pay,
For a license.
but you're going to pay full price for a license to stream something. I really think that this is going to fail solely because of the internet. I don't think we have the framework at the moment.
Yeah, so I read that I think um this actually might allow you to download games as well and then play them
But
cuz
what are you downloading it to?
well, if you have like the Stadia box, cuz it's not you need a stream device to put it to your TV, right?
Yeah,
So you either
and
need to run it on your phone or you need to run it off of like a TV box or something like that.
yeah, I think to hook this up to your TV, all you need is a Chromecast.
Probably, yeah.
So I
Or
mean,
similar device that is compatible with the Google OS, yeah. But the thing is, like, if it's a problem and it hurts them and they actually do care, then they'll probably allow you to download it. Because you can download the games on the Xbox streaming service, and you can download the games on the PlayStation 1. I looked that up. You can actually download them.
well, the Xbox isn't a streaming service.
You can stream the games from it, though. That's my point.
Oh, okay. Because I haven't been able to. I've always had to download them.
Oh, okay.
Um, and yes, the PlayStation One was a streaming, but I think they added in the downloading to
Yeah.
compete, I guess, with
Well, because some people don't have really great internet.
yeah,
But yeah, it might suck because of internet, as you're saying. But in my opinion on this is they kind of stopped giving a bunch of information about this
yeah.
months ago, and it's coming out, and there's no like near launch hype. And in comparison to like what I think is a normal amount, especially for a new product like
Well,
this.
yeah,
Whereas like the game service that Apple's releasing has had the same amount of information constantly being given. There's it's
yep.
kind of just a slow, steady amount of information where this was like a lot of hype and then just not even talking about it. And I'm wondering if this is just one of those beta projects that Google is going to basically abandon because they make a lot of projects and Google abandons them,
Yep.
and this might be one of them. Uh, do I care? Not really. I'm probably not even going to get this. I'm not its target market. If I'm going to stream games or download games, I'm going to do it on my PS5 whenever that comes out.
Yeah,
And
that's
I do that on the Switch, and yeah, so
the if I'm going to stream something,
yeah,
it's gonna be on a console that forces me, like it'll be on the next generation of consoles that forces me to not buy physical media anymore.
yeah. And like really it'll be about the frame count. And the really big thing that I've heard about this is they've released information that says that it'll, because of the potential latency, it'll predict what you're going to do and kind of do it for you. That's not how you play games.
No,
If that's what you're going to do, Google, I protest against that. Because it's like, oh, you probably meant to do this, so we're just going to make you succeed on the jump or something like that. It's like, no, I don't want to play with that latency. I actually want to play the game.
yeah.
And if that's what they're going to do, I'm not interested until the technology is there. And yeah, so we'll see. Time will tell. But I honestly think that this will either be a mediocre product, and I could be proven wrong, or it'll be something that Google completely abandons.
I mean, Don't get me wrong. I'm excited with the possibility
Mm-hmm.
of,
Its idea is really cool,
well, yeah, it's giving access to a
and this
lot
is
of
definitely
high-end
the future.
games to people who don't necessarily have access to um, a way to play them for a very affordable like entry point.
Yeah.
Because really, all you have to have is a controller, and you don't even need that controller.
Mm-hmm.
You need a controller.
Yeah, you could just play them off of your phone or something,
Yeah,
probably. So yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, like I said, that's coming out on the 19th, and I'm really curious to see whether it's successful or not. But yeah, that's the games that we found interesting that are coming out this month. Quite a few of them. Let us know in the comments down below what game you're looking forward to the most. Perhaps
yeah.
it's a game we listed.
Maybe it's not,
Yeah,
and maybe it's something that we could even play. So we're excited. Let us know.
and we'll see you next week.